When you think of wealth in the Philippines, it isn't just about money in the bank. It's about dynasties that built empires so massive, they reshaped the nation itself. From malls bigger than towns, to banks that hold the savings of millions, one family name towers above them all. But how did a small shoe store grow into a billion-dollar empire that dominates everything from real estate to retail? Today we're pulling back the curtain on the richest family in the Philippines, and the legacy they built brick by brick. Long before the Sai name became stamped on malls, banks, and skyscrapers, it belonged to a boy who arrived in the Philippines with almost nothing. Henry Sai Sr. was born in 1924 in Xiamen, Fujian, China, one of the country's poorer provinces at the time. His parents, like many others, dreamed of a brighter future in the Philippines, a land they believed was filled with opportunity. When Henry stepped onto Philippine soil at just 12 years old, there was no fortune waiting for him. His family ran a tiny sari-sari store in Quiapo, a bustling district of Manila. It wasn't much, just a cramped shop stacked with rice, dried fish, soap, and small goods. But for Henry, it became both a home and a classroom. Day after day, he watched his father interact with customers, learning how to read people, how to price goods, and how even the smallest profit could make the difference between surviving and going hungry. Life was harsh. Henry often went to school barefoot because shoes were a luxury his family couldn't afford. He understood hardship not from stories, but from lived experience. Long hours in the shop, nights spent worrying about whether the store would bring in enough money to cover the next day's meals. Then came World War II. When the Japanese occupation swept through Manila, chaos followed. Bombings leveled buildings, businesses collapsed, and the family store, their only lifeline, was destroyed. The Sai family lost everything. Many would have given up, but Henry refused to let despair define him. He once said that in those moments, I knew I had no choice but to work harder than anyone else. With no shop to return to, Henry turned to the streets. He noticed that after the war, there was a shortage of affordable goods, especially footwear. Many Filipinos were walking on broken shoes, some with none at all. Henry saw what others overlooked, opportunity in necessity. He began buying surplus shoes and selling them in open-air markets. Under the sweltering Manila sun, he worked tirelessly, carrying heavy loads, haggling with suppliers, and standing on dusty streets until late at night just to make a few pesos. Shoes were not glamorous. They weren't the kind of product anyone expected to lead to a billion-dollar empire. But Henry was strategic. He realized that while fashion trends came and went, shoes were essential. Everyone needed them, from workers to students to families rebuilding their lives. Day after day, he stood behind his small stall, learning not just how to sell, but how to endure. Every blister on his feet, every long day of bargaining, every peso saved became part of the foundation he was laying, one that would eventually rise into the Philippines' most powerful retail empire. Henry Sai didn't start out as a tycoon. He started as a barefoot immigrant who refused to quit. By the mid-1950s, Manila was still healing from the scars of World War II. Streets were bustling again, trade was reviving, and the city was slowly piecing itself back together. For Henry Sai, years of selling shoes on sidewalks and open-air markets had taught him one lesson above all: stability mattered. Markets could be shut down without warning, weather could ruin a day's sales, and street stalls carried the constant uncertainty of police crackdowns or theft. Henry wanted more than survival. He wanted permanence. In 1958, after carefully saving his earnings for years, he rented a modest space in Carriedo, a busy district of Manila known for its steady foot traffic. There, he opened his first real store. The name he chose was simple yet powerful: ShoeMart. Unlike the cluttered stalls that lined Manila's streets, ShoeMart was different. The floors were cleaner, the shoes neatly displayed instead of stacked in messy piles, and customers were encouraged to browse freely. Henry understood something most shopkeepers overlooked. People didn't just want to buy, and they wanted to feel like their purchase meant something. Even if they were buying an affordable pair of shoes, they deserved to feel respected. This small shift transformed shopping into an experience. Customers noticed the difference immediately. Families returned, not just because the shoes were durable and fairly priced, but because ShoeMart felt trustworthy. Word spread quickly, and soon ShoeMart was attracting long lines of shoppers who wanted both value and dignity in what they wore. But running a store wasn't easy. Henry had to take huge risks, borrowing money to expand his inventory and working grueling hours to keep everything in order. At times, he slept inside the store just to make sure nothing was stolen. Every peso mattered, and every mistake could mean the end of his dream. Still, ShoeMart thrived. Henry opened more branches across Manila, each one reinforcing his reputation as a visionary retailer. Other businessmen scoffed, dismissing him as just another shoe salesman who got lucky. But Henry knew better. Shoes were were only the beginning. As the years went by, he began to ask himself, if Filipinos trusted him for shoes, why stop there? Why not provide clothing, appliances, and household goods under one roof? Why not create a place where families could shop for everything they needed and enjoy the process while doing it? That simple question would soon lead Henry Sy to reinvent Philippine retail. ShoeMart was no longer just a store. It was the seed of a revolution, the first building block of what would become the SM department stores and eventually the colossal SM Supermalls empire. By the 1960s, ShoeMart was no longer just a successful shoe retailer. It had become a trusted brand, a name that Filipinos associated with affordability, reliability, and quality. Henry Sy had achieved what many thought impossible. He had turned a humble sidewalk stall into a thriving chain of stores. But for Henry, this was only the beginning. He believed that if customers trusted him for one product, they would trust him for many. So he took a bold step, expanding ShoeMart into a department store. This was uncharted territory for him. But Henry saw what others couldn't, that Filipinos wanted more than scattered shops across the city. They wanted convenience. They wanted everything in one place. In 1972, he opened his first full-line department store in Quiapo, Manila. The concept was revolutionary for the time. Instead of hopping from store to store, families could now find shoes, clothing, appliances, and household goods under one roof. For ordinary shoppers, it was a revelation. For Henry, it was proof that his vision was working. But he wasn't done. The 1970s and 1980s marked the next chapter. Malls. Henry had traveled abroad, and what he saw in the United States and other countries gave him ideas. In America, malls were more than just places to shop. They were community centers, places where families gathered, dined, and even spent their weekends. He asked himself a question that would change the future of Philippine retail. Why couldn't Filipinos have that too? In 1985, he unveiled his boldest creation yet, SM City North EDSA, the very first SM Supermall. At the time, many critics said it was doomed to fail. It was too large, too ambitious, and built in a part of Quezon City that wasn't yet considered prime. But Henry trusted his instincts. Opening day proved the doubters wrong. Tens of thousands of shoppers flooded the mall, amazed by its size, its variety, and the experience it offered. It wasn't just a mall. It was a new way of life. Families spent entire days inside, shopping, eating, and enjoying entertainment. For the first time, shopping wasn't just about buying things. It was about leisure, status, and identity. From there, the growth was unstoppable. SM Supermalls began popping up across the country, in provincial cities, urban hubs, and eventually even abroad. What began as a shoe stall on the streets of Manila had now grown into a sprawling empire of malls that became landmarks in themselves. For many Filipinos, going to SM wasn't just a shopping trip, it was an event. Henry Sy had changed the rules of retail, and with every new mall that rose, the Sy family's wealth and influence grew larger, cementing their place at the very top of the Philippine economy. By the 1990s, SM malls had become fixtures in Filipino life. They weren't just shopping centers, they were cultural hubs. But Henry Sy wasn't satisfied with dominating retail. He understood that real power came from diversification. To secure the family's future, he had to expand beyond shoes and shopping. His first major leap was into banking. In 1960, even before the malls took off, Henry purchased Acme Savings Bank, a small financial institution. Over the years, he expanded it, renamed it Banco de Oro, BDO, and relentlessly grew its footprint. What started as a modest bank for everyday Filipinos eventually became the largest bank in the Philippines. Today, BDO handles the savings, loans, and investments of millions. Proof that the Sy family's influence extended far beyond retail counters. But Henry didn't stop there. With malls rising across the country, he saw opportunity in the land itself. The Sy family's holding company, SM Prime Holdings, became a real estate titan. They developed not just malls, but residential towers, office spaces, and hotels. For many Filipinos, living or working near an SM property meant access to modern conveniences and steady growth in property values. The expansion wasn't limited to the Philippines either. The Sy family reached into China, developing malls in rapidly growing cities and solidifying their place on the global stage. These ventures made SM Prime one of the largest real estate companies in Southeast Asia, and Henry Sy one of the most powerful business figures in the region. From retail to banking to property development, every move Henry made was strategic. By diversifying, he ensured that the family empire was protected from the ups and downs of any single industry. If retail slowed, banking carried them. If real estate markets shifted, malls and consumer spending still thrived. The empire wasn't built on one foundation. It was built on many, and each one reinforced the others. This strategy of interconnected empires was genius. A family could shop at SM, use BDO to finance their purchases, and even live in a condo developed by SM Prime. Every peso spent cycled back into the SI ecosystem. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, it was clear the Sy family was no longer just rich. They were a dynasty, embedded in every part of Filipino life, from the shoes on your feet to the bank that held your savings, from the mall you visited on weekends to the condo you lived in. The Sy family was everywhere. By the time the Sy empire stretched across malls, banks, and real estate, the family had secured more than just wealth. They had achieved a level of power and influence that touched almost every corner of Philippine life. But behind the corporate empire was a family whose lifestyle reflected their immense fortune. The Sy siblings, who inherited Henry Sr.'s empire after his passing in 2019, live lives defined by privilege. They own sprawling estates in Metro Manila's most exclusive enclaves, Forbes Park, Dasmariñas Village, and other gated communities where privacy is prized above all else. These aren't just houses, they are estates filled with art collections, private gardens, and furnishings sourced from the world's most elite designers. Travel for the Sy family rarely involves commercial airlines. With billions in assets, they have access to private jets and luxury yachts, whisking them to destinations across Asia, Europe, and the United States. Vacations are not simple getaways, they are retreats in the world's most opulent resorts, where discretion and exclusivity are guaranteed. Fashion and lifestyle also reflect their stature. At public events, the Sy heirs are often seen in designer wear, subtle but undeniably expensive. Yet compared to other dynasties, they have cultivated a low-key image. You won't often find them flaunting their wealth on social media or making tabloid headlines. Their power is quieter, reflected more in boardrooms than in parties. Still, wealth at this scale is impossible to hide. The Sy family's presence is felt in high society events, major charity galas, and economic summits where their decisions can shift industries. Politicians, business leaders, and even foreign investors recognize that engaging with the Sy family isn't optional, it's essential. What sets the Sy lifestyle apart isn't just luxury, but the blend of influence and discretion. They enjoy the world's finest comforts, but they don't broadcast them. Their wealth is lived, not flaunted, in the kind of understated elegance that signals true power. And yet, even as they enjoy this life of privilege, the family has always tied their name to philanthropy. Through the SM Foundation, they have poured billions of pesos into scholarships, medical missions, and disaster relief programs. For the Sy family, philanthropy is not just charity, it is reputation management, a way to ensure that their empire is not seen purely as profit-driven, but as a partner in nation building. This balance of wealth, luxury, and quiet influence has allowed the Sy dynasty to remain at the top of Philippine society. They are not just the richest family, they are the family whose lifestyle embodies what generational power truly looks like. When Henry Sy Sr. passed away in 2019 at the age of 94, many wondered what would happen to the empire he built. Would it fracture under the weight of its own success? Or would his heirs preserve and expand it? The answer was clear almost immediately. The Sy children were not just inheritors, they were leaders in their own right. Henry left behind 6 children: Teresita, Elizabeth, Henry Jr., Hans, Herbert, and Harley. Each one has taken a significant role in steering the empire forward, dividing responsibilities across the vast network of businesses while maintaining unity and vision. Teresita Sy Coson emerged as the face of the family in banking, serving as co-chairperson of BDO. Under her leadership, the bank has grown into a financial titan, consistently ranking as the Philippines' largest in assets, loans, and deposits. Her business acumen has earned her international recognition, proving that the next generation was just as capable as their father. Hans Sy played a pivotal role in shaping SM's mall empire. For years, he oversaw the development of new malls, ensuring that SM Supermalls became not just shopping destinations, but cultural landmarks. His leadership helped bring SM into provincial cities, expanding the brand's reach to millions more Filipinos. Henry Sy Jr. and Harley Sy became key figures in SM Prime Holdings, driving real estate ventures and ensuring that SM's footprint expanded into residential, commercial, and office properties. Herbert Sy and Elizabeth Sy have focused on other branches of the empire, from hospitality to retail, while strengthening the group's diversified presence. Together, the siblings ensured that the Tsai family empire didn't splinter. Instead, it grew. Their collective leadership turned what was once a founder-led business into a professionalized, multi-generational dynasty. But the legacy isn't just about wealth. The Tsai family has made education and philanthropy central to their narrative. Through the SM Foundation, they have provided thousands of scholarships, helping underprivileged students earn college degrees. They've funded hospitals, health centers, and countless disaster relief efforts, from typhoons to earthquakes. These initiatives serve not only to give back, but also to solidify their reputation as nation builders, not just billionaires. The next generation, the grandchildren of Henry Tsai, are also beginning to step into the spotlight. Many have pursued education abroad, studied finance, real estate, and technology, and are slowly integrating into leadership roles. The dynasty is preparing for longevity, ensuring that the Tsai influence will endure for decades, perhaps even centuries to come. The Tsai family story is more than a tale of riches. It is a story of vision passed down from a man who started barefoot in the streets of Manila to generations of heirs who now walk the halls of power. Their legacy is not just about what they own today, but about how deeply they are woven into the very fabric of Philippine society. Today, the Tsai family's empire stands as the largest and most powerful in the Philippines. With interests in retail, banking, real estate, hospitality, and investments abroad, their influence stretches far beyond what Henry Tsai Sr. could have imagined when he first sold shoes on the streets of Manila. According to Forbes and Bloomberg wealth rankings, the Tsai siblings collectively control a fortune estimated at over $13 billion US. This staggering figure places them not only at the top of the Philippines' richest families list, but also among the wealthiest dynasties in Asia. Their primary powerhouse, SM Investments Corporation, is the holding company that ties everything together. It owns SM Supermalls, over 70 malls in the Philippines, and more in China, visited by millions each week. BDO Unibank, the largest bank in the country, holding trillions of pesos in assets. SM Prime Holdings, one of Southeast Asia's largest real estate developers, with malls, condos, hotels, and office towers. Stakes in retail brands, leisure, and global ventures that further diversify the portfolio. The scale is almost unimaginable. Every day, millions of Filipinos interact with the SI empire, whether they're shopping at SM, banking with BDO, or living in a condo developed by SM Prime. Few families in the world hold this level of direct influence over the daily lives of an entire nation. What makes their dominance even more impressive is how interconnected their businesses are. A family might buy their groceries in SM, pay with a BDO card, go home to a condo built by SM Prime, and return to the same mall on weekends for dining and entertainment. Every step of that journey cycles back into the Tsai ecosystem. This is why no other family comes close. While other dynasties hold power in single industries, shipping, tobacco, energy, or real estate, the Tsai family holds all of them at once, stitched together under one corporate umbrella. That diversification, combined with sheer scale, makes their position at the top almost unshakable. For decades now, the SI name has been synonymous with wealth in the Philippines. And with the next generation already preparing to inherit leadership, it's a title that won't be leaving them anytime soon. The Tsai dynasty may stand at the top today, but wealth is never static. Empires rise, empires fall, and the story of the Philippines is filled with families who once held power only to fade into history. The question isn't whether the Tsai family is the richest right now. The question is, how long can they hold the crown? As new billionaires emerge, as technology disrupts industries, and as the global economy shifts, the future is uncertain. Will the next generation of Tsai heirs continue the empire's dominance? Or will another family rise from the shadows, the way Henry Tsai once did, barefoot and determined, turning nothing into billions? One thing is certain, the race for power in the Philippines is far from over.